Shanti mantra from the Vedas, Taittiriya Aranyaka. The Vedas have 4 parts: Samhita, Brahmana, Aranyaka, Upanishad. Brahmana is the portion which contains the rituals, description, significance of rituals. Aranyaka is for meditation. The third part, Upanishad, contain the philosophy. So we study mostly the Upanishads. The first part, Samhita, contains hymns in praise of various gods and goddesses. So this hymn is from the Taittiriya Aranyaka, seeking happiness from the whole of nature. Every part of nature plays a very significant part in our life. Most of it we don't realize, but everything plays a very significant part in our lives. So prayer for peace and happiness from all parts of nature. Om Madhuvatartayate Madhuksharanti Sindhavaha Madhvir Nasantoshadhi Madhunaktamutoshasi Madhumatpartivagam Rajah Madhujyaurastuna Pita Madhuman no Vanaspatihi Madhumanastu Surya Madhvir Gavo Bhavantunaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Madhu means sweet or sweetness or happiness in general. Madhuvata ritayate. Vata means wind. May the winds blowing bring us happiness. Sindhava. Sindhu means ocean, water. Here it says rivers. May the rivers bring happiness to us. Without rivers, it's very difficult to live. Madhu madhvir nasantoshadhi. Oshadhi means plants. Medicinal plants and other plants provide us food. Madhu nakta mutoshasi madhu matfa tivagam rajah. Nakta means night, day and night, both bring us happiness. May the heavens give us happiness. Jav means from above, antariksha, heaven. Madhuman no vanaspatihi. Vanaspati means the medicinal plants used for medicine. Madhumanastu suryaha. May the sun bring us happiness. Without sun, life is not possible. Sun works day and night for us, for our comfort and benefit. Everybody takes vacation. If sun takes vacation, there will be a problem. He is on duty 24/7, 365 for billions of years, no vacation. If some says Sunday is my day, I will not sign on Sunday, there will be a big problem on earth. Madhumanastu surya. May the sun bring us happiness. Madhvir gavo bhavantunaha. Gavaha means cows, cattle. May the cattle bring us happiness. Om peace. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May there be peace and joy in our hearts. Adhyatmika Shanti. May there be peace and harmony amongst all beings. Adi Bhautika Shanti. May there be peace everywhere in nature. Adi Daivika Shanti. So last time we just began chapter 10, Vibhuti Yoga, very interesting chapter and easy also. We did verse number 9 last time. Here, Bhagavan Sri Krishna describes how the devotees make others happy, other devotees happy, and themselves feel very happy by thinking about God all the time. Machitta. Chitta means mind. Our mind should be fixed on God all the time, not on worldly matters. Madgata prana. God is the very life of our devotees. Most important thing is our life. As important as our life is God. Nothing more important. Parasparam bodhayantaha. Teaching each other what they know. When devotees meet, they talk about what they have read, what they have heard. In Gita or the Gospel or some other scripture, Upanishad, they say, I have read this is what I understood, and everybody shares what they have understood. Parasparam bodhayantaha kathayantascha mam nityam. Kathanam means talking about. Talking about God, not about worldly matter. Waste of time. Talking about worldly matters is sheer waste of time and energy. We should talk all the time available whenever we are with other devotees. We should talk about God. Parasparam bodhayantaha kathayantascha mam nityam, always. Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. They become happy and they make others also happy. They rejoice, ramanti, they rejoice in talking about God. Now we go to verse number 10. If devotees do all these things, what will God do for the devotees? What is his response? God's response to devotees. Devotees spend all their time thinking about God, talking about God, doing all activities as worship of God. They do all of that. Then this is on our side. But on his part, the Lord, what does he do is being described in verse number 10. Very important. Tesham satatayuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam tadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayanti te. Tesham means of those devotees who spend all their time thinking about God, talking about God, meditating on God, repeating his name. For those devotees, satata yuktanam, uninterruptedly they are engaged in worship of God in various ways. Worship can be in many different ways. All our activities can be worship. Worshipping God in many ways all the time. Satatam means uninterruptedly, without interruption. Kesham satata yuktanam pritipurvakam bhajatam. Those bhajatam means those people who worship God with love and devotion. Pritipurvakam. Lovingly, we should worship God. So when devotees do this, what does the Lord do? How does the Lord reward them? That he says in the second line, verse number 10. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayanti te. Buddhi yogam dadami. Buddhi yoga means, Buddhi yoga is described here as, Shankara describes Buddhi yoga in this way. Yena buddhi yogena samyak darshana lakshanena mam parameshwaram atmabhutam atmatvena upayanti prapadyanti. The devotees think of God as their very own. Buddhi yogam samyak darshana lakshanena, right perception. Most people have wrong conception about things, not right knowledge. Right perception. Intellectual union, it says. Intellectual union means God dwells in their mind all the time. That Buddhi Yoga I shall grant them. How God dwells in us, in the devotees all the time? Sri Ramakrishna said, the heart of the devotees is God's drawing room. Imagine a rich person has a big mansion with many, many rooms. And there is one room, particular room where he spends most of the time. His favorite room. God's devotee's heart is God's favorite room. He dwells there all the time. They also feel his presence. He dwells in everybody's heart, without exception. That we'll see in the 13th chapter. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram. That will come. The Lord is present in all beings in the same way. But many people, majority of people are not aware of his presence in them. They are only aware of the world outside. But devotees are aware of his presence. They feel his presence tangibly. They feel God's presence in them, in their heart, tangibly. So actually, they experience God's presence. That is Buddhi Yoga. His presence is actually experienced by the devotees in their heart. Then what else does he do? Verse number 11, he describes. Teshamevanukampartham aham ajnanajam tamaha nashayamyatma bhavastho jnanadipena bhasvata. Teshameva, for those devotees, anukampartham. Anukampa means compassion. Out of compassion for the devotees who always remain in communion with the divine. Some way they are connected with God through their activities, through prayer, japa, study of scriptures, exchanging conversation about God with other devotees. In some way, they are always in touch with God. Tesham eva anukampartham. Anukampa means out of compassion for such devotees. Aham nashayami. I destroy. Nashayami. What does it destroy? Ajnanajam tamaha. Tama means darkness. Ajnana means ignorance. Ignorance of God, ignorance of our true nature. Upanishad says we are all divine. Swamiji also said, each soul is potentially divine. That's the message of the Upanishads. There is one divinity present. In all of us is present. We are that. We are not aware of that. Maybe we have read about that one, but you are not experiencing our divine nature. Only experiencing our body, mind, which are perishable adjuncts, upadhis. Ajnanajam tamaham nashayami. God will destroy the darkness of ignorance and give us right knowledge of God. Atmabhavastha. Atmabhavastha means dwelling in their mind, dwells in the devotee's heart, and they are aware of that one, of his presence. Atmabhavastha means God as dwelling in devotee's heart destroys nashayami. What does it destroy? Ajnanajam tamaha. Darkness of ignorance of God, ignorance of our true nature. How does it destroy? Bhasvata jnana deepena. Bhasvata means blazing, very bright, effulgent. Jnana deepa means light of knowledge, light of self-knowledge, knowledge of God. By the light of knowledge, self-knowledge or knowledge of God, the Lord destroys the ignorance, the darkness of ignorance, being present in their very hearts all the time, out of compassion for the devotees. Devotee's heart is God's drawing room. Now we go to the next segment, the next 7 shlokas. Arjuna asks a question. One question, it takes 7 shlokas to describe. Very important question Arjuna asks in detail. Verse number 12 to 18 are Arjuna's question. 7 shlokas. Then comes the gist of the 10th chapter, Vibhuti Yoga. In response to Arjuna's question, Bhagavan Sri Krishna describes his glories, his manifestation in everything, how to see his presence in everything. Arjuna Uvacha, verse number 12. Arjuna Uvacha Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavan Purusham Shashwatam Divyam Adidevam Vibhum. Arjuna says that he has heard. Actually, this verse number 12 should be studied with verse number 13. They form one complete thought, sentence. We'll do verse number 12. Arjuna has heard that Bhavan, you, O Lord, addressing Krishna, he says, you, O Lord, are a Param Brahma, your supreme Brahman reality. He knows, he has heard about that one. Param Dhama, Dhama means abode, supreme abode. God is our supreme abode. This world is not our abode. We think this is where we belong. We don't belong here. This is we have strayed into this strange land. Why we have come to this world? Because of our desires to work out our karma, prarabdha karma. We can say that as explanation. But this is not our true place. This is not our permanent place. We are here only for a short time. As long as our prarabdha lasts, then we have to leave this place. Then what is our true abode? If it is not our true abode, the Lord Himself, He is our true abode. That song, Manasaro Nijaniketane, oh my mind, go back to our own abode. Swamiji sang Naren for Sri Ramakrishna in their second meeting. So this is not our God, is our abode. Param Dhama. Param Brahma, you are the supreme Brahman, you are the supreme abode of all beings. Paramam Pavitram Bhavan, you are the supreme purifier. There is nothing stronger, there is no stronger detergent than God's name. God's name purifies everything. Body, mind, everything is purified by repeating God's name, even the body. In the Gospel, Sri Ramakrishna says, if you repeat God's name, mind, body, and everything will become pure. So that is the supreme purifier. Paramam Pavitram Bhavan, God. When we begin the puja, we chant a short mantra, sloka. It says, Apavitra Pavitro Va Sarvavasthangato Piva Yasmaret Pundari Kaksham Sabhakya Bhyantara Shuchihi. That person who remembers Pundarika, the lotus-eyed Lord, he becomes pure inside and outside. Bhagya Bhyantara Shuchihi. Whether he is pure or impure, Apavitra Pavitrova. Sarvavastangata Piva. In whatever condition he may be, he may have gone through many unclean situations, but by remembering God, repeating God's name, whole personality will become pure. So Paramam Pavitram Bhavan. Purusham Shashwatam Divyam. These are all epithets of the Lord. Arjuna has heard about these things. Divyam Purusham, Shashwatam Purusham. Divyam is divine being. God is the divine being. Permanent, Shashwatam. All other beings are temporary. They have a beginning and an end. Only God has no beginning, no middle, no end. Adi Madhyanta Rahitam. In the second chapter, we studied this very important verse, sloka number 20. For Atman or God, there is no beginning, there is no end. 220. Najayate mriyate va kadachit nayam bhutva bhavita vana bhuyah ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano nahanyate hanyamane sharire. When the body dies, the Lord Supreme, the Atman, does not die, permanent, eternal. Najayate namriyate. For God, there is no birth, there is no death. So, para Shashwatam, Divyam, Shashwatam, Purusham. You are the divine, eternal being. Shashwatam, eternal being. Adidevam. The Adidevam means the primordial God. Before all other gods came into existence, the Lord was there. Before anything came, whole creation, he was there. Before the whole creation, the Lord was there, Adi Deva, the primordial Lord, Ajam, birthless, Najayate, no birth for God. No birth, no death, no middle. Infinite, eternal, permanent. Vibham means everywhere present. God is present everywhere. All other beings are present only in one limited space. Everything is limited, spatially, in temporally, in time, and everything. But the Lord is Vibham, always present in every place. Sarva Vyapin. This is what Arjuna has heard. So continuation, next verse number 13. Ahustva mrishayas sarve devarshir naradastatha asito devalo vyasaha swayam chaiva bravishime. Says who? All these things Arjuna has ever heard about God. Who says all these things? Rishayah sarve Narada Devarshihi Tatha other rishis. Asita, Devala, Vyasa, all these are names of rishis who have said all these things about God. Ahu means they said. All these people, Rishayah, all the rishis, Sarve Rishay, all the rishis, Devarshi Narada Statha, Devarshi Narada. And other rishis, Asita, Devala, Vyasa. Some names are mentioned here of great rishis. Swayam Chaiva, you yourself, God Himself, Sri Krishna Himself has said that He is the beginning and end of everything, He supports everything like this. Gatir Bharta, Prabhu Sakshi, like this. He is the friend, He is the supporter, He is the witness of the whole universe. Ahu, all these people have said, Arjuna has heard that the Lord is ever present, He is the supreme purifier, supreme divine being, no birth, no death, etc. Then Arjuna continues his question in verse number 14. Sarvametadvratam manye yanmam vadasi keshava nahite bhagavan vyaktim vidurdeva nadanava. You also say, Arjuna says to Bhagavan Sri Krishna, you also said the same thing, has said the same thing before. Sarvam etat, all of these things, that you are the creator, you are the Sarva Vyapi, you are the all purifier, you have no birth, death, etc. All these things, etat sarvam. Ritam yan ma madasi keshava, what you have told, Mam yad vadasi, whatever you have told about yourself, what other rishis have said about you, etat sarvam ritam manye. I think they are all true. That is the truth. Arjuna says. Whatever he has heard, what the rishis are saying about God, and what God Himself has said about Him, it's all true. Arjuna said, believes. Nahite Bhagavan Vyaktim Vidur Deva Nadanava. Neither the Devas, gods, Nadanava, nor the demons know. Vidu, none of them know. Te Vyaktim. Your manifested. Vyakti means something that is visible, manifested with name and form. Avyakta means unmanifest, no name and form, cannot be seen, cannot be felt. Vyakti means God has expressed Himself in the form of the universe. The whole universe is His manifestation. In a Vyakta form, a manifest form, He is the whole universe. Otherwise, He is unmanifest. He has both aspects. Sri Ramakrishna said in the second meeting with M, he said, one of the things Sri Ramakrishna said to M was, he asks M, do you believe in God with form or without form? M says, after some thinking, how can both be true? M thinks, then says, I believe in God without form, he says. Then Sri Ramakrishna says, that is true, but don't think that that is the only truth. God is with form, without form. So that is the truth. Vyaktim means God is manifest also in the form of all the beings. Te Vyaktim Devaha na danavaha viduhu. Neither the gods nor the demons nor any of the other beings know your true nature, your manifestation. This world is a manifestation of yours. Then question continues, a long question, 12 to 18, 7 verses. Verse number 15. Swayameva वेत्थत्वं पुरुषोत्तम भूतभावन भूतेश देव जगत्पते. If none of these people know, gods don't know, rishis don't know, demons don't know your true nature, then who knows? Only you know. Only God knows what he is. So we sometimes say, if we don't know something, we say only God only knows. We say like that. So that is the truth. Only he knows his true nature, his extent, infinite extent. Only he is aware of it. We just get a fraction of that and we think we know everything. Swayameva Atmana Atmanam Vetha. You know yourself by your own self. You only know your true nature. Tvam Vetha Purushottama, O Supreme Lord, only you know your true nature. Other beings, even the rishis, don't know. Gods and demons don't know your true nature. Bhuta Bhavana Bhutesha. Bhuta Bhavana means you're the cause of all the beings. That we have seen before in the 10th chapter, 7th chapter, in the 10th chapter earlier in the 8th verse. Bhagavan says, I am the source of everything. So that comes in the Upanishads also. God is the source of everything. He is the supporter of everything. In the middle, he is the creator, he is the supporter, and he is the end of everything. Everything merges back into him. Whole creation comes from the Lord, is sustained by the Lord, and merges back into the Lord at the end of their cycle of existence. This in the Taittiriya Upanishad famous statement, I have referred to this before. There, when the student asks the teacher about the nature of Brahman, then teacher says that from which everything has come, all the beings, that by which everything is sustained, and that unto which everything goes back and merges into, that is Brahman. Inquire into the nature of Yato va imani bhutani jayante. Yata means from whom or from which. Imani bhutani sarvani bhutani jayante. All these beings come into existence. Yena jatani jivanti. Jatani bhutani, all those beings which come from the Lord, jivanti, they live by his power. Because of his power only we can live and do everything. Yat prayanti abhisammishanti. At the end of their cycle of existence, all the beings go back and merge into him. Tad Brahma, that is Brahman. Tad vijijñāsasva, inquire into the nature of Brahman. That is in the Upanishad. So here it says the second, Bhuta Bhavana means, second line of verse 15. Bhuta Bhavana means the cause of all the beings. Everything comes from him. The source, cause or source of everything. Bhutesha, the Lord of all beings. He is the creator, he is the Lord. Deva Jagatpate, the God of gods. Deva means the God of all gods. Jagatpate, the Lord of the universe. He creates the universe, he is the Lord of the universe. That is verse number 15. Now, verse number 17, question continues. Vaktamarkasya sheshena divya hyatma vibhutayaha yabhirvibhutibhirlokan imam swampa vyapya tishtasi. Vaktamarhasi, you please tell me, Arjuna asked the Lord Sri Krishna, Asheshena, completely, Divya, divine Atma Vibhuteha, your powers, your glories. Vibhuti means the glories of God, as visible to us, manifested glories of God. That is Vibhuti. Divya means divine glories. Your divine glories, please reveal to me, explain to me how we can perceive your presence in all and everything in this universe. Yabhir vibhutivi iman lokan vyapya tishtasi tvam tishtasi. See, this first part of second line, verse number 16, is a combination of many words. Sandhi, Yabhihi, Vibhutibihi, Lokan, Iman, Svam. So many words combined together, Sandhi, simple combination. By which glory is Yabhi Vibhutibihi, Iman Lokan Vyapya Tishtasi, pervading this all these worlds, not one world, whole creation, pervading the whole creation. Vyapya means pervading. Tishtasi, you are present. Explain to me how you are present in the whole universe. We are only saying names and forms. How can we say you? His presence is there in everything. But we see the outward appearance, we see the name and form and qualities, good and bad and everything. How can we see your presence in everything? Please reveal to me how you work pervade this whole universe. Verse number 17. Katham vidyamaham yogin tvam sada parichintayan keshu keshu cha bhaveshu chintyosi bhagavan maya. Katham vidyam, how can I know? Aham, how can I know? Tvam yogin, O yogi, addressing God as yogi. How can I know you? Tvam sada parichintayan, thinking about you all the time. Keshu keshu cha bhaveshu, in what particular objects or aspects. Keshu keshu cha bhaveshu maya bhagavan chintyosi, how can I think about you, perceive your presence in all the beings? That is the gist of the question, second line. Keshu keshu cha bhavesu chintyosi bhagavan maya. How am I supposed to think about you, your presence in all the beings? Then last sloka, 18th verse, concluding the question, Arjuna says, Vistarenatmano yogam vibhutim cha janardana bhuya kathaya traptirhi srunvato nasti me mritam. O Lord Janardana, Vistarena Atmanaha Yogim Vibhutim cha Bhuya Kathaya. Kathaya means please say, please explain, please tell again. Bhuya means again. Your glorious Vibhuti. Atmana Vibhutim Yogam cha Janardana. Your glories, once again, please tell me at length, Vistarena, in detail, your yoga and powers, your vibhuti, your manifestation, how your power is manifested in everything in creation. Please explain that to me. Triptim srunvato me amritam srunvato nasti. I'm not content. No matter how much I listen to your glories. Triptir nasti, I'm no contentment. I want to keep on hearing more and more. That is one reason why Sri Krishna decided to show the cosmic form to Arjuna. That will come in the next chapter. Priyamanaya. Sri Krishna says, because Arjuna loves to hear the glories of Krishna, words of Krishna. Great delight he feels when he hears Krishna speak. Infinite happiness, amritam, means like drinking nectar, he feels that much happiness. That's one of the reasons why Bhagavan Sri Krishna decides to reveal his cosmic form in the next chapter. I am not satisfied as I listen to this ambrosial account. Amrita means that brings enormous infinite joy. Amrita is a nectar that came when the gods and demons stirred the ocean. Nectar means something that brings infinite happiness. In the form of a drink, they say, Amrita, nectar. That is end of Arjuna's question. Arjuna's question can be simply paraphrased in one line. He took 7 slokas, but the one line in which the question is stated is second line of verse number 70. There Sri Krishna, Arjuna asked Sri Krishna, Keshu Keshu cha bhaveshu chintyosi bhagavan maya. In what particular form or aspect can I see you, chintyosi? Can I think about you? Can I perceive your presence in the whole of creation? So describe your glories, how you are present in everything. That is Arjuna's question. The rest of the chapter is Krishna's answer. That is the real Vibhuti Yoga. The topic, Vibhuti, describing the glories of God, how His presence can be seen in all and everything, in the whole of creation, good and bad and everything. Verse number 19. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Hantate Kathayishyami Divya Hyatma Vibhutaya Pradhanyata Kurushreshtha Nastyanto Vistarasya Me Vistarasya Antaha Nasti. There is no end to my glories. So detailed, everything is His glory. There is nothing without His power in it, making it function. How many things to list? List will be infinite, because infinite things are there in this universe. Every tree, every plant, every leaf, every fruit, every animal, every being is His glory, His manifestation of His glory. Everything functions because of His power in it, because of His presence in it. How to describe it completely, infinity, infinite list will be there. Indeed, in Pradhanyata, most important things, Pradhana means important one, major, important one. I shall point out a few major important things, how you can see my presence in everything. Te kathayashyami, to you I shall explain. Atmavibhutaya divyaha. Divya means divine glories of myself. Atmavibhuti, my own glories. Pradhanyataha, emphasizing important aspects only. Purushreshta, O Arjuna. Me vistarasya antaha nasti, nastyantaha vistarasya. There is no end to my glories. This introduction. Now comes a very important verse, 10:20. Chapter 10, verse 20. Please remember that one. Think about that one. Very important verse. Summary of this whole chapter, you can say, is present in this verse number 20. Bhagavan says, Ahamatma Gudakesha Sarva Bhuta Shayasthitaha Ahamadishcha Madhyam Cha Bhutanam Anta Evacha. Summary of the whole chapter, in a way. Gudakesha. Sri Krishna addresses Arjuna as Gudakesha. Many different names Krishna uses to address Arjuna, Arjuna uses to address Krishna in the Gita. Gudakesha means one has conquered sleep. Gudaka means sleep. Isha means one has mastered the Lord. Arjuna had mastered the sleep. He could be awake at any time for any length of time. So Arjuna, Aham Atma, as the self of everything, Sarva Bhuta Shaya Sthitaha. Sarva Bhuta means all beings. Sarva Bhuta Shaya Sthita, I am present in all the beings as the very self of everything. Anything that you take, that is the presence of the Lord in that one as the very essence of that thing, as the very essence of everything. He is going to give specific examples, many examples. This is a general statement. Then he says in his second line, verse 20, Ahamadishcha madhyam cha bhutanam anta eva cha. Bhutanam is of all the beings, Sarvesham Bhutanam, we should understand, of all the beings, Aham Adihi, I am the source, I am the beginning. Madhyam, I am the middle, supporter. Anta Evach, I am the end. If you take any being, God is the beginning of that thing, God is the source of that being, God is the supporter, middle of that being, God is the end of that being. Everything merges into Him. That idea comes in several places. It already come at least twice in Gita so far. In this 10th chapter itself, verse number 8, there Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhavah matta sarvam pravartate. 10:8, same chapter. Here already said this one. Sarvasya, of all the beings, Aham prabhavaha, I am the beginning, I am the source from which everything begins. Aham sarvasya prabhavaha. Mattaha, from me alone, Sarvam pravartate, everything proceeds, everything emanates. That came in the 8th verse of this chapter. If you go back a little bit in the 7th chapter also, he said the same thing. Aham krishnascha jagataha prabhava pralayastata, chapter 7, verse 6. It will come again also. One important thing, God is the beginning of everything, source of everything. He is the sustainer of everything, and is the destination into everything goes back and merges at the end of their existence in this creation. So he is the source of everything. Amadishcha madhyam cha bhutanam anta eva cha. Adi means beginning or source. Madhyam is middle, supporter, sustainer of everything. Anta means end of everything, destination. Everything, we all go back and merge into him at the end. He is our destination. He is our main abode. He is our only abode. This is not, this world is not our abode. We think we belong here. We have strayed into this world. Later on, in a later chapter, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, having come into this world, what is the way to get out of this world? Mam bhajasva. That came in 9th chapter. Anityam asakam lokam. I think 9th chapter, I think verse number 33. Anityam asakam lokam imam prapya bhajasva mam. Which sloka number it is? 33. 933. Check. Anityam asakam lokam imam. Imam lokam, this world where we find ourselves now. Anitya, 933. Anitya means it is temporary, not eternal. Anitya. Also come, there is no happiness in this world. It's a very important line in chapter 9, verse 33. Sri Krishna already said in the previous chapter. Anityam asakam lokam imam prapya, having come to this world somehow. Why we have come? We think it may be due to our karma or desires or whatever explanation you are here. Fact is, we are here now. Why we have come, how we have come, that not important. We are here. You have to get out of here. What is the one way to get out of here? Only one simple thing we have to do. Mam bhajasva. Worship me in every way. Bhajanam worship is not only ritualistic worship. Any action that we do is worship of God. That comes in the 18th chapter, verse 46. Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, one important instruction Krishna says. We'll study that later, 1846, second line. There he says, by doing all work as worship, a person reaches perfection. Perfection means, so that will come later. Yatah pravrittir bhutanam yena sarvamidam tatam swakarmana tam abhyarcha manava siddhi mendati. By worshipping him, tam abhyarcha. How? By doing our own karma as worship. We are always doing some karma or other. Even sleeping is also karma, worship. Nidra samadhi sthiti, Shankaracharya said. By doing all our worship, all our work as worship, what happens to us? Manavaha, a human being, Siddhim Vindati. Siddhi means perfection. Perfection means moksha, liberation. We live to reach God. So coming back to verse number 20, Ahamadishcha madhyam cha bhutanam anta evacha. Of all the beings, bhutanam, I am the beginning, source. From me everything comes. Madhyam, I am the supporter, sustainer, I am the middle. Anta evacha, I am the end. Everything comes back and merges into me. One thing we have to remember, which comes frequently, we all have come from God. We are living because of it's God's power, performing everything. Without His power, we can't even blink once or lift our finger. God's power that makes everything possible in our life. And we all go back to Him at the end. The sooner we go back, better it is. Longer we stay here, more asukha. Remember 933. If you try to find happiness in this world, please remember 933. The Lord who created this world Himself is saying there is no happiness in this world. This world is asukha. And we are trying to find happiness in it. It's not going to work. So what we have to do, as He Himself said, Mam Bhajasva, worship God in every way. Amadishcha madhyam cha bhutanam anta eva cha. That is 1020. Very important verse. Now, in the remaining majority of the verses of this chapter, specific examples are given how to see God's presence in all and everything. This already came in the 7th chapter. There are 4 verses in chapter 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, where he had given some examples. Now, more examples are given in verse number 21 onwards in chapter 10. So, verse number 21. Adityanam aham Vishnuhu Jyotisham Raviram Shaman Marichar Marutam Asmi Nakshatranam aham Shashi. Specific examples. How He is present in prominent things in every class, every category of beings. Adityanam aham Vishnuhu. Aditya means a class of beings. 12 of them are there, Dwadasha Adityas. So when you do namaskar to the sun, you one of the Adityas. You have to do 12 times, Dwadasha Aditya, 12 namaskaras. When you perform worship of Shiva, you have to do 11 times. Everything Ekadashrodha, everything is 11 or multiples of 11. Adityanam aham Vishnuhu. Among Adityas, I am Vishnu, most prominent one. His power is most clearly visible. Jyotisham Shaman. Jyotisha means light. Of all the luminous beings that we see in the sky, what is the most luminous thing? Amshaman. Amshaman means the sun, radiant sun. Raviram Shaman. Marichir Maruta Masmi. There is another class of beings. See, we are only familiar with human beings, animals, and plants. There are so many other classes of beings in this creation whom we don't normally see. They are Gandharvas, 2 categories of Gandharvas. Manusha Gandharva, Deva Gandharva. I remember Pushpadanta was a Gandharva who composed the Shiva Mahimna Stotra. And this Kabanda in the Ramayana story, who only had a big stomach, no hands or feet, because Indra gave a big blow to his head with his weapon. Everything telescope into just his stomach. Rama Lakshmana went to him and released him from that. He was a Gandharva, very handsome Gandharva, but because he infuriated Indra doing something wrong, Indra smote him and they gave a big blow to his head. And his whole body became compressed like this one, with only a big stomach and 2 big arms. Whatever came between the arms, he would put it into the stomach, and that was the end. So Rama Lakshmana strayed into that area between these 2 long arms. They didn't know who it is. Then Rama instantly recognized that this is this particular guy. If we don't take care of him, he will devour us. So he told Lakshmana, you take care of one arm, I will take the other arm, then he will regain his true form. So then when Lakshmana Rama gave him big blows to his arms, he gave up that grotesque form which he had to assume because of Indra's fury, and stands there as a handsome Gandharva. And he shows, and he tells Rama and Lakshmana, the Ramayana story, where to go next. That Gandharva, who was the Kavanda Rakshasa, tells Rama and Lakshmana to go to Sabari's ashrama. Sabari will show you the next step like that. That was a link in the story. So besides human beings, there are Gandharvas, there are Devas, gods, there are Pitris, ancestors, there are Siddhas, perfected being, perfect from birth itself. Like this, many other categories of beings are there. We don't see them because on a different plane. We only what is on this plane, human plane. So among all the Adityas, 49 Adityas, that we already did. Murichar Maruta must be 49 Maruts. Maruts are a class of beings. 49 of them are Adityas, 12. Maruts are 49. Among them, I am the most prominent one, Marich. Marich is one of the 49 Maruts, class of beings. You are not familiar with them. They are there in creation. Nakshatranamaham Shashi. Nakshatra means, actually, according to modern astronomy, it's not true. Nakshatra means a star. Shashi means moon. Moon is not a star. Moon is only a small planet, a satellite of the Earth. But if you look at the night sky, during daytime sun is present. Night, who is the most prominent visible thing in the night sky? Moon. Other stars are there. They are so far away. Although they are big stars, not much light comes from. They're just like little things in the sky. What is the most prominent thing in the sky that we see at night time? Moon. So Nakshatranamaham Shashi. The power that moon has to convert the blazing heat of the sun into cool, soothing moonlight, that power in the moon, which makes it possible for the moon to do that one, is God's power. That comes in the 15th chapter. 15th chapter, Sri Krishna is going to say, the power of the sun to create so much light, heat, energy, life-supporting heat. The power of moon to convert the blazing sun's fire into cool, soothing, cool moonlight. And the power of fire to burn everything. All these are powers of God. God is present in all these beings, enabling them to do these things. He is present in each one of us also, enabling smaller things we do. He is present in everyone. Nakshatranamaham Shashi. Then verse number 22. This is a long list, end of chapter, until end of chapter, where Sri Krishna gives very many specific examples where we can vividly see God's presence. We can vividly see God's presence in the sun. Without power of God, sun cannot produce that much heat and light, which are essential for supporting life on this planet. Without sunlight, we can't survive. People cannot live, animals cannot live, plant cannot live. No life is possible. So what is that power that makes the sun to produce so much life-supporting heat and warmth? God's power. Then we go to verse number 22. Vedanam samavedosmi devanamasmi vasavaha indriyanam manaschasmi bhutanamasmi chetana. Vedanam Samavedosmi. There are 4 Vedas: Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharvavana Veda. Of these 4, Samaveda is the most pleasant one to sing. It is very musical. One has to very special training to chant Samaveda. It has to be learned from an expert who can chant it properly. Very musical. So among all the Vedas, Samaveda is the most beautiful one. There you can see clearly the beauty, the presence of God. Vedanam Samavedosmi Devanam Asmi Vasavaha. Asmi means I am present. I am. Devanam, among all the gods, so many gods are there. Indra, Varuna, Yama, Agni, Ashwini gods, all those are gods. Among all of them, Vasava, Asmi Vasava, I am Indra. Vasava means I'm Indra. Indra is the head of all gods. He is ruler of all the gods, more powerful. Indriyanam Manaschasmi. How many Indriyas we have, sense organs we have? 5, 10 or 11? 11, including mind. 5 Jnanendriyas, sense organs of perception, eyes, ears, hands, skin, etc., nose and tongue. And 5 Karmendriyas, organs of action, motor organs, hands and feet, etc. 10. Mind is also a sense organ, which is more powerful than the other 10 sense organs. Mind, though a sense organ itself, is so powerful, more powerful than any of the other 10 sense organs, that it can direct the other 10 sense organs. Mind can tell the hand what to touch or what not to touch. It's too hard, don't touch, mind says. Mind has its function, more power. So among all the Indriyas, 11 Indriyas, sense organs, I am the mind, most powerful. There you can see God's power clearly manifest in the mind. Without the help of mind, the hand cannot do anything, feet cannot do anything, eyes cannot do anything. It is the mind that directs the sense organ, 10 sense organ. So it's more powerful. There you can see the glory of God, power of God. Indriyanam Manaschasmi Bhutanam Asmi Chetana. Among all the beings, Bhuta means being. Bhuta means not the evil spirit that some people think. Bhuta means anything that has come into existence. Bhupava. To become, to be. Anything that has been in the past, which is present now, which may come into existence in the future. All that is called Bhuta, beings. Bhuta means being, any being of any kind, human or other. Among all the beings, I am Chetana means intelligence. Only among human beings you can see intelligence. Plants and animals, they have animals have some rudimentary kind of mind, but they have no discriminating power. They have no buddhi. They just live by instinct. If they're hungry, they eat. If they're tired, they sleep. So they don't have thinking power to distinguish right and wrong. They just live by instinct. It's only human beings that have thinking power, buddhi. Bhutanam asmi chetana. I am the intelligence among beings, among human beings. It is only as a human being that we can reach God. Even if you're a God, you have to come down to human level to reach God, because gods are those who are enjoying the fruits of their good karma. As a human being only, we can reach God. It's only from the human platform that you can reach our divine nature, not as animal, not as plant, not as gods. That is why human life is extolled very eloquently in other scriptures. Shankaracharya says in Viveka Chudamani, 3 things are extremely rare, special gifts. They come to us only by the grace of God. Durlabham Trayamevaitat. These 3 things are very durlabha, means very rare to get. What are they? These 3 things, they have come only by the God's grace. Manushyatvam, Mumukshutvam, Mahapurusha Samshraya. Manushyatvam means human life. We have received the best gift we can receive from God already, being born as human beings. If you are born as an animal or a plant, nothing can be done. You have to start to work out my karma. And so like the trees are standing there. They are simply standing there for hundreds of years. They cannot do anything new. They cannot think. They just live by They absorb the nutrition from the earth and then produce leaves and fruits and flowers. Day after day, year after year, summer, winter, fall, spring, they're standing there. They have to work out their karma. Only human beings can reach to the level of their divine nature, experience their divine nature. So human life is very precious. Manushyatvam, mumukshatvam. The desire for liberation, that is also very rare. So many 7 billion human beings are there. How many of them are really interested in moksha? They're interested in worldly things, enjoyment, happiness, pleasure, property, possessions, family, children. But to be really interested to know God, to achieve liberation is very rare given, mokshatva. And then to reach that goal of mokshatvam, moksha, liberation, we need the guidance of a guru. Mahapurusha Samshraya, the company, blessings of a great Mahatma. We have all the three of us. We here, all of us here have all the three gifts already given to us. If we don't use these three gifts and reach the goal, it is only our fault. So that is human birth. Bhutana masmi chetana. Among all the beings, I am the mind, I am the intelligence. Human beings have intelligence. I think we should stop here. If you have any questions or comments, we can bring it up now. I can't hear. You have to come here. Hearing is very bad.
So in verse 20, here it says.
Now hold on for a second. Let me take a question from the class because we have to close.
Sure.
Then I will spend time.
Yes.
Any questions from the Zoom class? Otherwise, I'll chant the closing prayer. All of you participate. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, may all beings be happy. May all be free from diseases and other problems. May all know and realize and practice what is noble and auspicious. May no one be subject to misery. Om peace. May there be peace and joy in our hearts. May there be peace and harmony amongst all beings. And may there be peace everywhere in nature. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. All of you stay well, and God willing, we shall meet again next week. Thanks very much.